Hello, happy Monday. How is everyone? It's a glorious Monday. It's cool. It's in the 70s and there's a brisk wind blowing. It's crazy. It's the end of May now and it's still in the 70s. I'm not mad about it. I'm not. We've had a couple of hot days, but it just doesn't feel like the end of May in Georgia. No, it does not. It feels like the end of March in Georgia. Anyway, I was listening to something this morning that reminded me of a story. Do y'all like to fly? Because I'm not crazy about flying. I mean, I do it, because flying's better than driving, especially when you have to go a long distance. It's okay. I'm not scared to fly. It's just, I don't know. I don't like sitting still for that long. I don't like being cramped in a cabin with that many other people. I don't like long flights. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay. I do it because I have to get to where I'm going without having to drive 14 days. Or like when I went to Mexico. I mean, yeah, I could have driven, but we went to Cancun, so driving to Tijuana and then back down to Cancun would have taken all of my vacation days. So anyway, we flew. Reba and I get on this flight to go to Cancun. And first up, we meet with the third person in our little 3-seat aisle there, or whatever, row, I guess that would be a row, starts talking to us. And she's talking like she might be leaving Alabama for a reason, like to get away from something. You know what I'm saying? It was just very suspect the way she was talking about how she had to get away from Alabama. She drove to Atlanta to board the plane because they didn't have one leaving out of, I don't know, where's the airport? Birmingham? Soon enough. And she needed to hurry. And I was like, what you running away from that you got to get to Cancun today? That was my first question. But anyway, then our flight leaves at 6 a.m. and she orders 2 shots of tequila and a beer. She was like, y'all not gonna drink with me? Ma'am, it's 6 a.m. Yes, I'll have a Bloody Mary, because that's all I can imagine having at 6 a.m. So she keeps talking. I mean, she talks all the way to Cancun. Me and Reba didn't even talk hardly on the entire flight. So, which was fine with me because I laid over there and tried to snooze a little. But she kept saying, well, where y'all staying? And I'll come get you and we'll go hang out. And I kept like nudging Reba, like, don't you dare tell her where we're staying or we will not be able to get rid of her. I have a bad feeling about this because she's running away from something, right? Anyway, Reba didn't tell her where we were staying. And we never saw her again once we got off the off the airplane. But let me tell you, we fly into the airport at Cancun. I was not expecting to get off the plane the way we got off the plane. And you know how I don't know, at Atlanta you roll up and you have this little bridge thing that comes out and you go through the door and you walk across the bridge and you're in the airport? That's the only way I've ever gotten off a plane. Not in Mexico. They drop down the end of the plane, the door on the end. They drop that down and we walked out onto the tarmac, which, might I add, was about 182 degrees because it was September in Mexico. So I was like, is this how we always get off the plane in Mexico? Or is this just us? Are we special? So then we go into the airport and there's these armed people standing around with those bullets draped across their chest, okay? That was a little unnerving to me because I was like, really? You gonna wear all your bullets like that? You can't carry them in a little magazine? You're just gonna wear them strapped across your chest like this? That's cool. So anyway, we finally get our luggage and then we go out and we're waiting to board. I think it was some kind of little van or something that was going to take us to our hotel. Now, once we got to the hotel, it was beautiful. We got checked in, we got to our room, and then we get to looking at all the things on what we're going to do. And we're going to go to this park one day where we get to swim in this underground cave. And that was cool, except Reba doesn't know how to swim. Yeah. So we chose that. She had a vest. I mean, we all had a vest. A life vest, that's what they're called. She had a life vest on. And I didn't really understand the fact that she didn't know how to swim until we were in the water. And she was like, I'm not real good at swimming. So if you just wouldn't get it too far away. What? What? You can't swim? Well, I can swim a little. I mean, I can like dog paddle, but I didn't know it was going to be this deep. Okay. So I stayed with her. Basically, when I say I swam circles around her, that's basically what I did, because I was swimming, and I'd swim up and I'd circle back, and I'd swim up and I'd circle back, because basically she was dog paddling and trying to keep her head above water in her little life vest all the way through this underground cave. She thought she'd be able to touch. She couldn't touch. Anyway, it was fine, but I wasn't expecting that. Plus, I think she was expecting more like what they have at Whitewater, where you can kind of lay on your back and the lazy man's river or whatever kind of float through. It wasn't really like that. You had to swim. Yeah, and you couldn't walk. Anyway, that was fun. It was very refreshing, let me tell you, because it was 182 degrees, and that water was very cold and refreshing. So then we go to the Chichen Itza, which is the Mayan ruins, and we had to climb. We didn't have to, but we did. And it's a 4-sided pyramid, and it has 365 stairs up, and then it has 12 columns. It's all about the calendar, all this, I don't know, it's very weird. But anyway, the stairs are very steep and very shallow, and basically I had to walk up the stairs on my hands and knees, because when I stood up, I would get dizzy because I was afraid I was going to fall, because did I mention I'm afraid of heights? Yeah. But I was convinced that I was gonna go all the way to the top. I was gonna do it. If Reba can swim in a cave, then I can walk up these stairs. So I did, and got all the way to the top, and I was like, great, this is lovely. This is beautiful. How am I gonna get back down? She was like, well, we're just gonna walk. And she did. She just got out there and held her head up and walked. I mean, those stairs was about that wide. They were just tiny little stairs. That's not true, but they were very narrow, shallow little stairs. And I sat down, and basically I butt bumped all the way down those stairs and held on to the tiny little rope that they had there for you to hang on to get back down. Yeah, horrible experience for me coming back down that Chichen Itza. Anyway, we had a guide. His name was Raul. Raul had a really long pinky nail that probably was used for things like white powdery substances. Muy bien. Muy bien. That's what he kept saying through the whole thing. He would talk and talk and talk, and then he would say, muy bien. But he was always doing his pinky like this. Muy bien. I was like, why does he keep saying muy bien? Reba said, I don't know, but he's about to get on my nerves. Raul, muy bien. Anyway, it was funny. So then we went to some sort of zoo, which was a little bit terrifying because, like, there was this little wall, and then there was this deep gully, and then there was the animals, like panthers and such. And I was like, you know, they're really not that far away, and there's really nothing in between us. This is kind of terrifying. But anyway, and then we went in this thing that had all these butterflies flying. It was a great trip. We had a great time. Got totally toe up from the flow up, and the bartender asked me if I wanted sex on the beach, and I was like, excuse me? And he was like, it's a drink. And I said, oh, sure, yeah. Sure then. That'd be great. And then Reba went to get us something the next night, and they said, "Would you like Mexican flag?" And Reba said, "Sure." And it was 3 different liquors, like a red liquor, a clear liquor, and a green liquor, and then they set it on fire. And she brought them back to me, and I was like, "Why are they on fire?" She said, "I don't know, but blow it out, and then we'll drink them." And I was like, "Okay." We did that. And y'all, I was like, I think we should probably start heading to the room. We were in the pool, which, by the way, overlooks the beach where all the naked people were. I said, the men had on bottoms, but I was like, "Reba, they don't have any clothes on." She said, "I know. It's a topless beach." And I was like, I was not ready. I was not prepared for this. And the men that were there, they did have on bottoms, but they were bikinis because apparently European men wear bikini bottoms. American men don't. So I wasn't ready for that either. I was like, they might as well not be wearing anything. They know that whatever. Anyway, the things that I saw. But anyway, so then, let's see what else. We went back to the room, and she laid on her bed and hung her head off the bed. Like she was on her back, and she was hanging her head off facing me, and I was on my bed with my head facing her, hanging off. And we laid there and talked to each other with our heads hanging upside down off the beds and laughed until we were just absolutely sick. It was hilarious. But that drink with those 3 liquors in it, I said, we need to go to the room. We barely made it to the room before we were just stumbling drunk. Stumbling drunk. All we had to do was walk in the hotel and up to our room. It wasn't like we had to go anywhere. Anyway, and then we boarded a bus the next day, and the bus or the whatever it was you were supposed to yell stop, Alto, and it was supposed to stop so you could get off the bus and do whatever and then get back on the bus, right? Well, apparently my bus driver didn't speak Spanish or English because I kept yelling Alto, Alto, or stop, or waving my arm around. He just kept right on getting it. Apparently we got on the wrong bus, and he took us around to the other side of Cancun where they lived. And then people started getting on the bus with chickens and stuff. Penny's having a bad dream. Maybe it's through. So anyway, yeah, then people started getting on with chickens and stuff in little cages and things. And I was like, are we ever going to make it back to our hotel? Are we just going to keep going deeper into the jungle? What is going on here? I don't want to walk. It's too hot. And there are very large iguanas hanging outside of this bus. I just want to get back to the hotel. Well, anyway, finally we circled back around to the side of town that the hotels were on. And when we got back to our hotel, he stopped and we got off the bus. Yeah. So then, from then on, we took taxis to go where we wanted to go because apparently we didn't know how to take a bus. But we took the taxi, and they took us down to this little shopping area, and this guy chased me around trying to put this necklace on me and kept telling me something about Bonita and being on TV and movie star, and I was like, if you don't get this daggum necklace off my neck, I'm not buying it. No dinero, no. And he kept following me around. Reba's got these crystal blue eyes. You know those eyes that you can practically see through? She turned around and looked at him. She said, "Stop it," in her Mississippi accent. And he looked at her, and she said, "I mean it. Stop it. We're not buying anything." And he turned around and walked off with his little necklace. And I was like, "Thank you, but where you been for the last 5 minutes?" "Well, I've been trying to run from him." And then we saw somebody buying some cocaine. Maybe it was Raul. I'm not sure. In a little alleyway. We saw all kinds of things when we were in Mexico. I'll never be the same. But anyway, then it's time to fly back home. And this is the point to the story. Because I listened to one this morning, a video that Sharon sent me, and it reminded me of this. On that flight back home, we're leaving Mexico, Cancun, Mexico. It's supposed to be straight up to Atlanta, right? Except we get on the plane. First of all, it's hot. The plane is hot. The air conditioning was not on the plane. Sitting in the middle of the tarmac, the air conditioning was not on. So it was very hot. Also, the bride, in a bridal party, she had flown down with us and now they were flying back. Well, she had drank too much. So she got on that plane and it was hot and she started throwing up. It was lovely. Yeah. I was like, well, isn't this nice? Well, finally, they turned the air on. Finally. I mean, I was drenched. Drenched. We were all drenched sitting on that little hot box on that asphalt in Cancun in September. And finally, they close the door. They turn on the air. We can breathe. Okay, cool. Well, then he starts talking. And then he says it again in English. And what he says is, there's a hurricane that is in our path, not the drink, an actual hurricane. So he was going to have to fly west towards New Orleans. And then when he got to New Orleans, he was going to hang a right and do a U-ey and then fly back above the hurricane into Atlanta. So our flight would be taking a little bit longer than expected. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm looking at Reba like, did he say hurricane? She was like, yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. He said hurricane. We're in a plane, and he said hurricane. Well, he's going to fly around it. It'll be fine. So, we're up in the air. I'm staring out the window intently looking for a hurricane. I don't think I'm going to see one, but that's what I was doing. And then he starts talking again in his language. And then he starts saying it in English. And he said something about turbulence. And if you're a praying person, that you might need to start praying. I looked at Reba. I said, did he just say that we need to start praying? Is that what he just said? She said, yeah, it'll be fine. Are you kidding me? Our pilot is telling us to pray. And you're still saying, it's going to be fine. I'm starting to not believe you, okay? But it was fine. We made it. That was the worst flight of my life, because you talk about being choppy. Ooh, Lord. I mean, flying west is a little more choppy anyway, from my experience. But flying around a hurricane, yeah, it was very choppy. The entire flight was just like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. So, I haven't had the best of luck with flying to Mexico. My flights elsewhere have been okay, but whew, that was rough. That was rough. But we had so much fun. Yeah, wild iguanas just in trees. That blew my mind. I'm not scared of iguanas. I just want to mention that because I did mention that they were scary, but they're not scary. I mean, I didn't want to reach out and grab them or nothing. But, you know, generally speaking, they didn't move. Oh, there's Dixie. What's Dixie doing? Dixie scared the bejesus out of me earlier because I went out to walk the dogs, and as I was cutting across I was going Jones' front yard. Here she comes, flying across the street. She sees me coming. I was like, no, I got the dogs. No, I've got the dogs. I can't feed you right now. You're going to have to wait till I get home. Meet me at the house. And she's like, cool, I'll meet you at the house. Well, we go on around the block and we come back home. Well, she wasn't here. So I come in, put all the stuff up, and then I texted Joan and said, are you ready for your bandage change? And she said, yes. So I take off back out the door, and as I, step around my car, there's Dixie. Y'all, she scared the crap out of me. I was like, ugh! As I'm coming back in the door, I get a text from Joan that said, Dixie's at your door. I was like, you're about 3 seconds too late. I said, yeah, going back in to get her food, because I did tell her that I would feed her when I got home. So anyway, but she's still out here. I think she's looking for seconds, but she's not going to get them because I think she's had plenty. She had her cantaloupe and her chicken feed and her mealworms. Well, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. That was a lot. Anyway, y'all have a great evening. And remember that I love you and Jesus loves you. And I hope he's coming back soon. And I hope it rains tonight. And that's it. I don't know why I did just poured that in the trash while I was making a video. But anyway, talk to you later. Okay. Okay. Goodbye. Bye.